Dr. Jonathan Clark was fighting for his patient's life. 5-year-old Jenny had leukemia and urgently needed a blood transfusion to survive, but she had a rare blood type. They couldn't locate a suitable donor in time. Her only hope was to receive a blood donation from her twin brother Larry, who had the same blood type. So Dr. Clark asked the parents,
"Do you think little Larry will be willing to give his blood to his sister?"
Perhaps you should ask Larry directly.
Yes, please ask Larry.
Turning to Larry, Dr. Clark said,
"Now, Larry, do you love your sister?"
"Yes, I do." Dr. Clark then explained to Larry that unless Sister Jenny received some new blood, she might not survive from her sickness. It was the only way to save his sister's life. Holding Larry close to himself, Dr. Clark asked gently, pointing to Jenny,
"Hey, Larry, are you willing to give your blood to her?"
Little Larry hesitated and was quiet for a little while. He turned and looked at his parents and saw tears in their eyes. Then he turned back to the doctor and said resolutely,
"Yes, doctor, I will give my blood to her."
Dr. Clark smiled, gently patted Larry's head and said,
"Well, Larry, you are a good boy."
Thank you, Larry. You are a good brother.
Larry, mother and father went home that evening. But that night, little Larry couldn't sleep, wondering what would happen to him after the blood transfusion. Next morning, father and mother took little Larry back to the hospital. They took him directly to Dr. Clark, who greeted them with a big smile and assured Larry,
"Now, not to worry, Larry. It will be over quickly. You will hardly feel any pain."
Larry kept unusually quiet, showing no emotion on his face. Next, Dr. Clark called in the nurses and said to them,
"Please get Larry ready and take him to the operating room."
The nurses prepared Larry, put him on a gurney and wheeled him into the operation room, with Dr. Clark right behind him. His sister Jenny was already there, but Jenny was very weak, with pale cheeks, simply lying silently there with her eyes closed. After the doors of the operating room were closed, Dr. Clark and the nurses inserted a small needle into Larry and one into Jenny. Dr. Clark whispered to Larry,
"This is going to be only a small prick. Won't hurt."
"I am okay, Doc."
Larry tried to smile and talk bravely. His gurney was right beside that of his sister Jenny. The two siblings were hooked up to IVs. The transfusion proceeded as the boy's blood left his body and entered his sister's. Larry laid quietly next to his sister during the treatment and waited patiently without uttering a single word. The entire medical team burst into cheers as they noticed colour returning to Jenny's face. When the procedure finished, Dr. Clark pronounced,
"Congratulations, team. This was a great success."
Then suddenly, Dr. Clark and the nurses noticed that young Larry had gone exceptionally quiet. His face grew pale and his smile faded. He looked up at the doctor and asked with a trembling voice,
"Doc, when will I start to die?"
Dr. Clark then recognised that all this time, little Larry thought that when he was asked to give blood, he would give up his own life so that his sister could live. He was willing to do even that for his sister Jenny. The doctor was very impressed and quickly assured the little boy,
"Oh, Larry, you won't die. Both you and your sister will live healthily."
A few days later, when Jenny had recovered, she returned home to rejoin mother, father and Larry. Larry was so happy to see his twin sister.
"Welcome home, sis. I love you."
"Thank you, Larry. I love you too."
And they embraced each other with great joy. Do you know, just like Larry, there was someone who was willing to give up his own life for us. In John 15:13 we read, "Greater love hath no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends." Do you know who that person was? Boys and girls, what do you think is the lesson that we can learn from this story? Do you think Jesus loves us? Was he willing to give up his life for us? How are you going to respond to his love?